Of course, this is Matt McGorry, who you know from two very different characters on two very different shows. You're on Orange is the New Black and How to Get Away with Murder.
Yep.
So you're juggling both of these very big roles right now. But first, gotta ask you about Orange is the New Black, because you play a character that only has one leg on the show, and it is so realistic because you have both legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
In real
So
life I do.
how do they make that happen, and what did you do to specifically train for that? I mean, because they make it look like you really do have a prosthetic leg.
Well, it's interesting. So we shot the first episode of season 1, and at the end of the first episode, I only had one scene in the first episode, but the guy who was directing that episode, who's also one of the co-executive producers, said, "Oh, by the way, you probably have a prosthetic leg." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting to know now that we had already shot our first scene." But he said basically, we don't want you to do anything differently. We don't want you to walk in one way or another. So I didn't purposely try to walk one way or another. I think that the manifestation of the character, his kind of emotional state and how he is in the world, and I think he can be sort of afraid or timid or awkward, probably creates a certain walk that I wasn't even necessarily conscious of, that's a little bit like tight-assed, and I think that sort of, when you find out that he has the prosthetic leg, kind of lends itself to that. And then the rest was, in season 1 we pulled a prosthetic mold of my leg, a wonderful prosthetics guy we have, special effects guy, and we pulled the prosthetic up, and it's just hanging out right there in the leg. And then season 2 we did one with the green sock, which you see the stump and it looks pretty incredible. And they actually apparently had to blur out some of my leg definition because it was unrealistic.
Ah, okay.
So
Well,
that's the magic of
what can you do about that in real life? Who knows? So, of course, all the women around, everywhere I go, ask me the same question when they find out that I'm sitting down with you. Because, you take your shirt off quite a bit on Orange is the New Black. And you're a fitness buff. You've done all of these fitness things before. So tell me about...
They ask you how many push-ups I can do? Is that...
They've asked me that.
That's right.
And they asked me what your diet and fitness routine is. Because you're a buff guy. You're a buff dude.
Thank you.
What do you do to maintain that?
Well, I have a background in... I was a trainer for almost a decade. Which, when you're under 30, is a long time, and I competed in powerlifting, and I did a bodybuilding show, so I have a lot of background in it. So I like to think that I know sort of the most efficient way to kind of get where I want to be and maintain that, which typically involves, I'd say, 2 days a week of some weight training and 2 days a week of some interval training.
How to Get Away with Murder right now is what we're all drawn in now. A lot of people are wondering when we're going to get the clue, because your character can be thought of as very cocky and not the easiest to get along with.
Right.
So, people are really asking, when are we going to kind of find out what's behind that, what's behind his attitude, and what can you tell us about that and the motivations for what makes him the person that he is?
Sure. I think in general, usually the douchiest people are often the most insecure. I think a lot of times it's so deeply ingrained in them that you would be hard pressed to ever really have a moment where they revealed that to you. But sometimes in private moments, I think that you can probably see that, and you see it, the light like peek through just very briefly. I think in terms of the vulnerability or the deeper self.
Well, I'd like to thank Matt McGorry for coming by, and of course we will be watching with bated breath to make sure you stay on this show, and then watching to see you back in that prison again.
Yeah.
Coming up next
Thank you
year.
very much.
Thank you for coming by.
Thanks very much.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.